Dean, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Now, Mauricio Solomon, he also said that he wants to start setting up WBC tournaments, which I was telling him it sounded like a good idea. It would make our sport look more like, you know, the NFL, the NBA, you know, where you have a setup, a structure. Now, would you guys be willing to participate in something like that in the future with your fighters?
It definitely, anything that's good for boxing. If the fans, if it's good for them, let's try it out. Why not? Let's change it up a little bit. It may work, but it also depends on the fighters. If you're going to be in a tournament, I'll give you a good example. It's a worldwide tournament, fighters from all over the world. But if we have a fighter that has an opponent that nobody knows, how am I going to get it on the network? So sometimes it's like, all right, well, maybe we don't participate here, but get the fighter the bigger fight or the better name. So it depends. There's fighters that are just as good, but they're unknown.
Yeah.
That maybe the network won't pick it up. No, we're not interested in the fight because they don't know beat.
But if they have the whole bracket set up to where they know that if these fighters keep winning, they're going to eventually meet up, you know, because that's how the Olympics is.
Yeah,
a lot of people, you don't know who they are in the Olympics either.
I think it's very tough.
Yeah.
I think it's very tough. Sounds like a great idea. It works in the Olympics, works in the NBA, works in football, but you don't have all those organizations. If it was just the WBC, then it's easy. But if you're going to go in this tournament, or you eliminate yourself from maybe fighting directly for this world title. So it depends on the level of the fighter. So young fighter, why not? You know, hey, maybe you'll get the exposure, especially if you win, then you get the world title fight. But if you're an older fighter, why you run the risk of going to 3 or 4 or maybe losing in the first round when you might be on this organization ready to go for the world title right away? So it just depends on what level the fighter's at.
Okay. And Robert, with you being the matchmaker, I got to ask you this question. Canelo Alvarez is at a stacked division, 154. Demetrius Andrade, of course, you still have Lara, the Charlo Bros. Even Vanes Martirosyan, I think, is still a name at least. I hear you guys are talking about him possibly fighting like a Tim Bradley if he wins this fight. What about cleaning up the 154-pound division?
Oh, definitely. I mean, right now, obviously, the focus is on Saturday night, but he is a 54-pounder, natural 54-pounder. There's been talks of, right before Bradley and Rios, there was talks if Bradley won, he would be willing to go up. There's always talks of somebody. It just means after the fight, everything comes out right, his hands raised, we meet, sit down, and see what's available for next year.
Is there more of a chance of him fighting Bradley or David Lemieux versus Demetrius Andrade, the Charlo Bros, Martirosyan? What do you think?
I think at this particular point, you got to look for the bigger fights, the events. What's going to be a big fight, a mega fight? Something like an exciting fight. So we have to look at that. That's where we come in and sit down with the team and look at styles. Do we want a boring fight? Do we want to fight a guy who's and I'm not saying they have to engage toe-to-toe. Miguel Cotto and Canelo are not your just toe-to-toe fighters that go in there, hit, and get hit. You got 2 intelligent boxers, but that like to be aggressive, that like to go for the knockout.
Yeah.
So if it's a matchup like that, of course, that's the options we like because that's what's going to please the fans. That's what's going to get the fans excited to want to watch it. But put them in with a fighter that I'm going to stick, hold, move, run, Swift. Yeah, Swift. You're going to have to fight him at one point. Canelo has fought, and that's what I said. At such an early age, he's fought all the styles out there, but obviously he's proven what style mixes better. The guy that comes. James Kirkland. We had 3 rounds, only 3 rounds, but those 9 minutes were more exciting than the 12 rounds with Lara.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Styles definitely make a difference. Styles make fights. But me personally, I'd still like to see who's going to win the Super Bowl, even if it's only 3-0 or 21-3. I still want to know who the best is. Let me ask you about this. So, who would you say is the next Golden Boy superstar that you could project? I mean, I know it's early right now, but the next Canelo, basically.
Well, I think it's tough. That's a tough one. I mean, Canelo, again, for such a age-wise, because obviously he has a lot of fights, has transcended over and amazingly into boxing. People have met him from different cultures, different countries, and they love him. You have to have all those ingredients. We have a lot. We have a few fighters. I think that, I'm excited about Luis Ortiz, King Kong, heavyweight. Wake up that division. Put excitement. A guy that's going out there to look for a knockout. Not looking for an easy fight. Brian Jennings is no joke. We know that. But that's the kind of fights we want. We want our fighters to fight real fights. Know that the fans can say, hey, there's a risk. We're taking a risk. Our fighters are taking a risk. But guess what? There's also a reward if we get past that. King Kong, I really believe he puts him out. He knocks out Jennings, something Klitschko couldn't do. Guess what? People are going to be talking about him as the savior of boxing in the heavyweight division. Randy Caballero on the card Saturday night. Not too much people know about him because he won the world title in Monaco. Tremendous performance. Was out for a year through an injury, had surgery. I think we're going to see the best Randy Caballero. He's going to shine. Smaller divisions, but thanks to Chocolatito, one of pound-for-pound best boxers in the world, I think more attention is going to go to these smaller divisions. Joseph Diaz, 2012 Olympian. Kid has a bright future. Diego De La Hoya fights tomorrow, the main event. Tremendous future. Manuel Tino Avila, young kid, undefeated from up Northern California. So there's a lot. We're in a good place right now at Golden Boy. Building young fighters for tomorrow.